Poor people governor with the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. So help me God. Today I want to talk to you about a number of things. One, today is supposed to be a national shutdown of Guyana. Complete shutdown. Linden is under complete shutdown. Shut right down. But when it comes to Georgetown and the rest of the regions, it's like business as usual. And that's unacceptable. Unacceptable. We got to get it right, and we have to, by all means necessary. We have to get it right. I'm disappointed that we did not enforce a national shutdown of Guyana. Sometimes you have to sacrifice and fight for what is right. We have to. At some stage, we must. It was brought to my attention that Mr. Aubrey Norton was arrested along with 16 other residents of Guyana as they attempted to peacefully protest the forced vaccination and the atrocities of the PPP by extension. He was since released on bail, but it is with a deafening ear that the PPP allows to trample upon the democracy of Guyanese and to reach at a level of total disrespect for persons in authority in Guyana. Here it is, a high rank of the opposition is being arrested for no justified reason, being placed in the station for no reason, for doing his democratic right as a citizen. And the government of the day is comfortable with this, as is the norms. Jack Dio and Infonali should never allowed themselves to be caught in this kind of skullduggery. This is weak leadership coming from the PPP. You don't go around arresting opposition leaders. That's not democracy. And to clearly show that a racist and anti-black regime, when Mr. Ranger was in office, they almost, not they, Mr. Ali himself, who's sitting as the president as we speak, almost overturned the president at the time, Mr. Ranger's vehicle. And he was not even questioned by the police. Now these things must turn your belly and give you goosebumps to understand the kind of society that we living in. The barefaced and bold-faced racism. It must. And at what stage we're going to act? At what stage it's going to stop? In certain country, Mr. Ali would be charged for treason and jail. Shaking at the president's vehicle to turn it over. That's a fact. That's a fact. And we yet here now arresting opposition leader and leaders for simple, peaceful protests. Peaceful protests, which you have the right to assemble, and especially at coffee. You have that right to assemble. There are COVID protocols in place, yes. You wear your mask and you are not in violation of any protocol. You stand 6 feet apart. You're not in violation of any protocol. That's your democratic right to protest. To speak out against the atrocities that is happening to you and your family, and by extension, the people of Guyana. That's your democratic right. But the catfish regime is trampling upon your rights, taking away the democracy of the citizens of Guyana, and they're doing it in a stage that is unbelievable. It seems as though you have nowhere to complain, or you have nowhere to even go to. Because the police is complicit with the negligence and the ignorance of the PPP. So we in the diaspora, I've had an opportunity to speak with members of GORE, members of NAR, and the Canadian Foreign Affairs Office to bring awareness to what is taking place in Guyana when it comes to the human rights. It is a violation that is being protected throughout the world. You have the right to protest. That's a right. You have the right to freedom of speech. That's a right. And it's being violated. And serious action will be taken. And I want to put the PPP on note. Let them know that the diaspora will never allow the victimization that took place 23 years ago on the Barajak deal. Never. It will never happen again. We will continue to engage the international community to bring the pressure to the PPP. Is either the stay and burn or cut and run. Period. We will engage the international community and let them know. I mean, not let them know, because they already know and they're closely looking and monitoring. And a very good case is going to build against them in the human rights form. Jagyo is done before the Human Rights Board already. He done there already. I mean, take the whole regime. How is it that the PPP could go and got super spreaders all across Guyana? Got people ganging up for listening to a bunch of crap, balloons and lies. From the Minister of Education, the Minister of Works, Ejil, foolish, big-head fool. The President himself, incompetent, the incompetent Taya, Bale Jagdio, and the whole pack of them running about Guyana busy. Trying to see what little they could grasp at with the people, see what little they could pack their heads with. Because they can't go live and internationally to get the people to listen to them and the balloons. So they're going in the little village for tell them a bunch of lies to get them aroused like they're doing something. These people wicked. And these people is cut out for no good for Guyana. And we must protect our democracy at all costs. The country is supposed to be shut right down today. Completely shut down. Forced vaccination. Teachers being victimized. Nurses being victimized. The doctors being victimized. And the police is using as a tool of the PAP, an arm of the PAP, to help with the discrimination of these entities. So the country is supposed to be shut right down. Shut down, nothing move. Let them govern the ungoverned. Let them govern in parliament. Govern themselves. Shut the country right down. What is so hard about that? You guys studying a 1-day pay and a 2-day pay and them kind of things. You got to make sacrifice for the greater good. You have to. You can't sit down and freaking lock up for a 1 day and a 2 day And I know y'all is like talk big and bad at the governor in Guyana and the governor in this and that. The governor ain't afraid of a soul. Whoop on the record, have to play. This mouth of mine will speak and speak the truth at all time. And I'm protected by the Most High. I don't have no fear for the PAP, Jack DOR, none of them. None of them. I have no fear for them. So if you guys want to seal your lips because you're living in Guyana, you even who ain't living in Guyana want to seal your lips, doesn't matter for you. These lips of mine cannot be sealed to injustice. Cannot. Cannot. And I will continue to talk big, bad, and brave. Because that's who I am. Fearless of what they can do or what they... You're mindful of what they can do, but I'm not fearful. At no time at all. I'm not fearful. So don't comment and tell me balloons, but who live in here and who live in here. Get out on the streets and let your voices be heard. That's what you need to do. Get out and let your voices be heard. We can't condole the PvP with the nonsense all the time. Today for you, tomorrow for me. You never know if they could go as far as arresting Aubrey Norton. Huh? Let me tell you, PvP, if y'all ain't know what y'all doing, y'all take a retract and go and come again. Be very careful. Be very, very careful of what you do and how you do it. This time, not long time. This time, not long time. Be very careful of what you do and how you do it. We will not accept you going around arresting our potential leaders. We will not allow it. Not allow it. None of the MPs, none of the PNC members, we won't stand idle by and allow you to victimize them to the highest degree. This time, a long time, it naga work, sir. When you're called upon to shut the country down, shut it down. Get out and shut it down. Right down. When you're called upon for boots on the ground, get out there with your boots. Come out in your numbers. Bring out your nanny and your granny and your papa and everybody. Shut the place down. It must be shut down. Let the PvP put a notice that we will not accept this kind of skullduggery. Jagio get on the Facebook early this morning to post 36 pictures. Business as usual in Georgetown. He's proud that today is supposed to be a national shutdown and business as usual in Georgetown. People still open for business. Shut it down. Let a post on the Facebook. Early morning, Jagio could post. People selling bore upon a corner. This happening, that happening. And we supposed to get a national shutdown of the country. And y'all starting a one day pain and this kind of thing. What you feel happen to your children and your children? If you don't make the sacrifice now, right now, if you don't make the sacrifice, what you think will happen? I love you guys. I really do. But we in this together and we have to. We must fight this fight together. Divided, we will not conquer. The PPP wins if we're divided. I'm appealing, I'm begging you. We must come together to fight this fight. Within the PNC, the APNU, the AFC, we must be together for this fight. This is not no easy fight. These people ain't giving you power. You ain't got to fight. So if you gotta step in the ring, whatever you have to do it. We have to. We have to make the sacrifice for our children and our children's children and for the development of the beautiful country we call Guyana. The sacrifice is needed. Now is the time. We cannot, as adults, sit and leave all of this frustration for our children and our children's children. We must be responsible. We must leave a legacy that they can understand and they can dwell with. They shouldn't have to run out to Guyana and run here and run there. We must leave a country that is completely developed and works for the people. Not a country will work for some people. Not a country for the rich and forget about the poor. Not a country who's willing to throw democracy through the door and arrest people for peaceful protest. We cannot leave that kind of a country. A country that uses the police force to do the government bidding. A country that once you align with a particular political party, you cannot work in government. A country that is willing to fire 25 Afro-Guyanese because they're not supportive of the PVP. We cannot leave that kind of a country for our children and our children's children. Comrades, the time is now. We must set the stage for our children and our children's children. We have to fight the fight. We have to. These people show that they return worse than they left. They return worse than they leave. They fail to realize this is a more modern time. It's a more digital time. But they're acting as though they're still back in 2020, 11 and them kind of times. They're acting as though they have it all and they have nothing to lose. Nandalal is running about doing what he likes, saying what he likes. And I want to remind you guys that under President Range's regime, he was attacked by the now sitting president. And I have no apologies to that because that is facts. He was attacked by Ali. Ali himself tried to overturn that vehicle that the president was in. Pushing and tugging at the vehicle with the tire. The big fat tire. Pushing and tugging at the president's vehicle. And to date, the police had not even questioned him. There was no arrest, no investigation, none whatsoever. Any other president or any other part of the world, Mr. Ali would have been charged for treason and jailed. As easy and simple as that. But yet they run out to arrest Aubrey Norton for peacefully protesting. Peacefully. They run and arrest him along with 16 others for peaceful protests. What are we telling our young people that wants to involve themselves in politics when you all vagabonds and jagamites dead and gone? How are we going to continue the good works if young people don't want to get involved in politics? When y'all dead and gone, y'all old jagabats. When y'all gone, what gonna happen to we country? If the young people don't want to get involved in politics because of your corruption and evil-minded thinking, racism at its highest when it comes to the PPP. How the young people can get involved as a young politician? What is there that you can look at and say that this is something I want to be a part of? When you guys abuse out and carry on in parliament, you can't understand half of the crap that you are saying sometimes. Because they share bitching in parliament. When you're in parliament, you're on your different ears and you talk a bunch of balloons. A bunch of lies. And going at each other. How the young people could get involved in something like that? Young people can go and look for work differently. Them ain't gonna get involved in politics. And that's why you're always looking for strong leaders. You're going to always be looking for leaders. Guyana, the time is now. We have to move away from this kind of nonsense. The PvP ain't going to give we nothing. Everything you want with these people, you have to fight. Plain blank. You have to fight. So like I say, when you hear boots on the ground, put on your boots. When you hear shut it down, it must be shut completely down. It's as simple as that. When you're called upon to participate and do your part, do your part. Bring out your nanny, your granny. Bring them out. Let me tell you guys, and I want you to understand what I'm saying clearly and condignly. When you're called upon to shut the country down, come out and shut it down. When you hear boots on the ground, come out. Take part, do your part. Let's send a message to this catfish regime and let them know that we are not going to sit idle by and allow them to do as they like, as long as they like. It cannot happen. In no other country it won't happen. We earn the right to freedom of speech. We earn the right to free and peaceful protest. That's a right that nobody could take from us. Throughout the world, that's a right. So we got to understand that it is worth fighting for. And we have to fight for it. At all means necessary. At all means, we must fight and leave our children and our grandchildren with a legacy that we are comfortable with. That we know when we gone to the great beyond, there's no worries in the world for them. Guyana would be a better place, a well-developed place, an intellectual place. Everything that we had fight for will be in place by putting the right person to govern Guyana. And not the kleptos. Not them. Not the jagabats. And the trench crappos. Not them skullduggeries. What it is be going on with. Them known terroristic, domestic terrorists. Not them known ones. Known domestic terrorism. They're known for that. A pack of thieves. There ain't nothing good about them. Is a pack of thieves. All they do. They do a little development here and a little development here so that they can thief. In which country you know people is walk around with millions of dollars sharing out? Which country? When you share the liquid cash, you can't get account for it. Because the thief in the blasted money, the cash grant and all them things, thief. You call people in, they put the ID, the sign, or you give them a check. You send a check in email where you can give account for. But the people don't get check. Check is too much of paperwork and too much of account. They give cash. So when you get cash, you can't give account for it. In the US or Canada or any one of those places that deal with taxes, when we do cash work, you don't pay tax on cash. The people is thieves. That's what them is. No accountability for the money that's sharing out and distributing. You got people ringing down me phone. Farmers from in the PvP village. The man got acres upon acres. He farming bananas. You name it, he got it. I could cry with the guy. The pro-Indian fella, I could cry with him. He said the people come in the yard and watch it and give you $50,000. And one single bed, can't even compensate the $50,000 that you receive. These people is criminals, thieves, liars, murderers. That's who they are. And we got to put them on notice. And put them on notice pretty quick. That they cannot continue like it's business as usual when arresting senior members of the PNCR or the APNU administration. Cannot be business as usual. Cannot. So be placed on notice that the diaspora will not sleep. We'll continue to educate our members of parliament in this region and the ambassadors and the prime minister and president to let them know of the victimization and the blunt racism and the terrorism, the domestic terrorism that you guys carrying out within Guyana. We'll continue to educate them. And at some stage, the plug gonna get pulled. PBP be placed on notice. The governor love you all. Be blessed. Stay safe.